Man, Salaki, I just had my storage full. Damn, a group of bikers just pulled up too. But nonetheless, we're gonna go to that image real quick. It's the book of Revelation, 13 and verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast shall be killed. So what? They're just gonna kill you just because you don't want to go, be a part of the society? No, man. How are you gonna be able to, show your worship to this image of the beast? How is this beast, how is this image even gonna receive life? How are you gonna even give life to this image? Verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma, a mark, in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So you see, the only way you're gonna really show your worship to Esau, Edom, and this image is gonna be if you take this RFID microchip, man. All right. So let's get Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit in the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. And this is talking about Esau, Edom, the virgin daughter of Babylon. You can also, let me get this real quick. Bear with me, Akim. That says Babylon, though. What? All right, come on, man. Also, like it's right here. It's Psalms. There it is. This is the book of Psalms 137 and verse 7. Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, which means erase it, even to the foundations thereof. Talking about Jake. Esau, Edom in his heart was saying, erase Israel, erase Jacob. Verse 8, O daughter of Babylon. Whoa. What did we just read in Isaiah? Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit in the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, which were what? Experts in witchcraft. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. And this is why they do all that fucking, those wicked sacrifices unto their, their idols. But nonetheless, verse 8, O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us. How did these Edomites, treat us during the time of slavery? Again, all that, shit you see of them, killing, their report goes way back, man. They were, feeding our babies to alligators, same shit that Pharaoh was doing. They were, ripping our, women's, stomachs out while they were, on a tree. They were, all types of shit, man. They were watching us get hanged, burned, so on and so forth, man. They were eating us, putting us on plate, making leather out of us, clothes out of us. Hey, verse 9, happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. We're going to be chilling, bro, doing shit that you're doing to us, on a higher scale. But nonetheless, verse 47, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Why? Because these other nations are not looking at these elites like what? Like, oh, yeah, you guys are, nice, soft white people. Now you guys are being looked at as what? Damn, these people over here fucking sacrificing kids, eating babies, all types of shit. Like, what the fuck? So what are what are these elites doing? Even Putin said what? Putin said, hey, we're not going to, we're going to war with, the Rothschilds. We're, these other, Iran and them, they what? They're fucking, making, fake images of, Baal and burning it, using the 666 and, Satan and with the image of, the American flag. Right? Because what? They're no more being called, tender and delicate. These people are not looking at America like, oh, these Americans like, oh, they're just some, nice, old white folk. That whole image of, nice, preppery, clean, you can trust them. That's just out the window. No one trusts these Edomites anymore. No one trusts these, these politicians, these elites. Their own people don't even trust them. These people in America it's over with, man. So what they're going to have to do is what caused World War III. But nonetheless, verse 2, take the millstone and grind meal. uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. And that's what the Most High is doing right now, is what? Making Esau, Edom, plain. He's making them naked. He's showing you these elites and how, the self-proclaimed white man, the elites of them really, who they really are, how they get down, by what? These different files. You have whistleblowers, and furthermore, you have the prophets, the men of the Lord out there on the highways and the byways, letting you know that these people are the wicked. Because what? Let's get this real quick, actually. Give me 1 second, man. Let's get this real quick. Let's get this. This one also, further goes into that. Yep, this is the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So if the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, and that wicked covered the faces of the judges, who is the judge? Yahweh and Yahawashi, really the main judge. What did they cover their face like? Like themselves. And what were they? Self-proclaimed, self-titled white folk, which really they're red. They're not even white. All right. And it shows you how the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? Look what, these Epsteins and these, how, they're really the owners of the world, right? The bankers, the elites. He said he was working on, he said on one of his emails that he was working on the behalf of the Rothschilds. And when you go into that word Rothschilds, it goes into red shield. When you go into the etymology of it, red shield, because what? They're not white, man. They're actually red. They're the Edomites. They're Esau. They know who they go back to. All right. So, verse 3, thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as the man. You see, Esau, Edom is exposed. Him being exposed is an example of his rulership going down. Because what? These other nations, when you go into the book of Joel, it says, let the weak, say I'm strong. They're not going to care about, taking you, Edomites down, man. Verse 4, as for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh of hosts, is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Because what? When you go into the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, it says, no man shall buy thee. That's not talking about slavery. That's talking, when you go into that word buy in that scripture, it goes into the word redeem. Because what? Only Yahawashi is going to be able to redeem us out of this captivity. There wasn't going to be a man that was going to come upon earth that was going to go ahead and, take us out of here, man. All right. So, verse 5, sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the lady of kingdoms. I was wroth with my people. I have polluted my inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst shew them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke. And thou said, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it. You see, you people, you Edomites, you really, your mindset is you forgot what you did to our people, man. But now you gotta really remember about that shit. Damn, man, is that a chariot? It's a chariot called Yahawashi Yahawashi. But nonetheless, verse 8, therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, and one day the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in the perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantments, right? You saw again, look at the files and look at what these elites, because if we can't tell you that these Edomites and these elites, they're the rulers of this world, aren't, Satanism and witchcraft and all types of, abominations, well then, go on that, go on the government page and look at the files for yourself and see what they're into, man. At one point, we were labeled crazy, conspiracy theorists, Bible thumpers and whatnot. But now that all this shit's coming out, what's happening? You got, people leaving the, the Christian church at a high rate. You got, friends of the world, messaging brothers talking about, hey, man, what was that thing that used to go out, you were talking about out there, teaching the Bible and shit, because what? At the end of the day, Ezekiel 33 and verse 33 is going to come to pass. And what does that say? It says, then shall they know that a prophet has been among them. Verse 10, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. You see, you were going to these different islands and doing all types of wickedness, sacrificing babies, doing hunting parties, and all the mannerisms of wickedness, thinking that shit was never going to come to light. And look what happened, man. Yahweh bahasham Yahawashi wins again. You see, he's in control of this thing, man. Not you, not you. And this is, this is a beautiful, precept, man, because Isaiah 47 is coming to pass heavily, That's coming to pass heavily. And then it goes, when it said, but back at verse 9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, and in one day. You see, man, all this shit is escalating quick. Esau Edom is being exposed quick. Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it risen, and mischief shall be upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. The same thing that's gonna happen, to the ancient pharaohs in Egypt. What do? They try to go ahead and use these left hand gods and shit to try to make Moses seem like our power wasn't really in control, and that their gods were in control. It's gonna be the same thing all over again, man, because what the Most High allowed these these Edomites really to excel and rule over us for a moment, because what we're going off, we're sinning, man. We're going off. So allowed Esau to gain pride, take us down, and commit all mannerisms of wickedness upon us via their their gods, which they gave reverence to. But now that we're turning back, the elect is waking up, the Most High is on his way back. Hey, Esau Edom's sorceries and witchcraft is becoming weaker and weaker, and to the point where now, man, everybody's looking at these people like, what the fuck? Everybody's looking at these like, damn, y'all were really fucking, doing what, the prophets out there in the prophets, the men of the Lord out there in the highways and the hedges were, talking about. Esau Edom been, he been the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And, when we say wicked, don't just think of that word like, fucking Halloween or something spooky. Nah, that word wicked is these fools were actually being, wicked. The frazzle drip, all that shit, man. There's all types of shit that came out about these elites. But nonetheless, you can also get the book of Daniel 7 is a good one as well too. Yep. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 26. All right, I can really start at verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. They shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy it until the end. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of thy kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. You see, so this is what's happening right now, man. Translation of kingdoms. I brought it out actually in my camp set and my in transit actually on the way here. So this is a perfect precept that ties in with that. Let's get this in the book of Sirach 10 actually. Yeah, because what's happening now is the end of Esau, the end of the world. What you people know as What we, what's happening right now is the end of the world as we know it, because the end of the world, according to the scriptures, is not like the movie 2012. The end of the world is synonymous with the end of Esau, Edom's rulership, this current kingdom that we're in, which is what? Ran by wickedness. And the way we know that this kingdom is ran by wickedness, what are the elites doing and who are they worshiping? All this, exposing of, the Epstein files, we know that the elites and the rulers of this world are doing what? They're practicing Satanism, man, witchcraft. So, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. You see, so we're witnessing the end of the world, because the end of the world is what? Synonymous to Esau, Edom's, rulership going down. So, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 10 and verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So we're in the midst of what this transition, man. We're under grace, right? Being under grace, we're getting ready to transition to the new covenant, which is gonna really be, the full, fledged, kingdom being set up on earth. Because once we're really fully put into that new covenant, what are we gonna receive? Those bodies, those new bodies. We're gonna receive, the laws in our inward parts. We're not gonna be able to go off and sin, which sin is our kryptonite, which is why we die. So once we're fully, translated into that, new covenant, then the kingdom of heaven is gonna be established here on earth, and Esau, Edom is gonna be taken out. And that's really gonna start, during the time of Jacob's trouble. When you go into it, shit's gonna be in the fan. Brothers are gonna be receiving spiritual powers and all types. When you're a martyr, you're gonna be coming back with Yahawashi, taking shit down, and then from there, hey, the rest of the elect is gonna get beamed up, and we're gonna be, up there, with Yahawashi, having a ceremony. While you elites are gonna be down here, still committing wickedness, still sacrificing kids and babies and shit, until we take you out of those bunkers and put you into slavery. So, hey man, this is, really what I had to bring out. I don't run up this house. It's edifying. Salaki was kind of all over the point. I try to organize it a bit, but, talk to the spirit anyway. So I want to close out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power. Yahweh, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, kakodash. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahawashi is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, the great millstone, who do rule well and teach well. Shalom to the hopeful elect and your Akim, man, your brothers pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth with all truth and sincerity, making your calling and election sure, man. Hey, shalom.